All right, so welcome guys. Destrie here from DestrieMonis.com, and I got a couple of amazing people on the line with us tonight. So with my personal brand, I like to tell people that what my personal brand is about is I actually empower entrepreneurs to use simple online marketing moves in order for them to be able to create a freestyle lifestyle. So one of the things that the reasons why I brought out Aaron and Brian out here tonight is because they actually created a freestyle lifestyle. And it wasn't too long ago when I remember exactly when it happened, because we met a couple of years back in Las Vegas. And I know a couple of months later after I met you guys sold everything, and then you guys went on your journey down to Central America and started your freestyle lifestyle. So welcome guys, welcome to my Facebook Live.
Thanks for having us. Super cool to see other people on the same path and taking life by the horns.
Definitely. So yeah, I just wanted to start off with you guys. Tell us a little bit about your backstory before you started to dive into the Be Adventure Partners brand. And what was that like before you made that jump? So Brian, I think you mentioned you were a fireman before actually starting your online business. And Aaron, I think you were a hairdresser. Am I correct?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that background and what drove you to look for a different solution on, creating an entrepreneurial path for you guys. What was that like?
Yeah. Well, for me, I really was super passionate about doing hair, but a memory that really stands out to me was having these monthly interviews with my boss to kind of see where I was at, where the team was at, and all of that stuff. And I remember him saying, "Aaron, you're our top stylist. I love having you here." And then in the next breath saying, "All of these stylists are replaceable." And that really struck a chord with me. Like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, if he's saying behind their back that they're replaceable, what's he saying behind my back? And I really just felt like I wanted to have more control in my life. And I knew that I had a bigger message than just sitting with clients one-on-one in the chair, that I needed to, at that time, all I could think about was being on stage and speaking in front of huge audiences and just teaching people how to love themselves and how to create a life that they're super excited about.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So that's where the kind of inspiration came from.
Gotcha. And Brian, what was your background like working as a fireman?
Well, working as a firefighter, I was in Austin, Texas. It was pretty rough. The city has almost 1 million people, and there was about 1,100 firefighters there, and we were working 24 hours on shift and 48 hours off shift. But like most of the firefighters there, we all had to work overtime because there wasn't enough money at the end of the month to pay all the bills, because, you get a house, you get the RV, you get the truck payment, and you get all the payments that go along with it. And then you're just like, geez, I need to make some extra cash. And so I had found network marketing back in 2012, struggled with that for 3 years, did exactly what they talked about. Hey, just call your friends and family and coworkers, and you're going to build a great business. 2 months in, burned through my warm market, had nobody else to talk with, and struggled for the next 3 years until I found how to start branding myself, how to start building a business online so that people will actually reach out to you. And so that was like the breaking point. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being worn out constantly. I'm tired of going on tragedies. I'm tired of these bloody calls, just all of this trauma. And it wasn't just that job. There was other jobs along the way that, I was just tired of the boss, treating me poorly, tired of coworkers not treating you well also. I mean, we're all humans, right? So I thought, if only I could create a simple business online that would allow me to free myself. Now, this was before we even met. Mm-hmm. So this was November of 2015 that I started working on the online business thing and trying to figure out, how do blogs make money? How does all of this work together? So in my spare time of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this work, and I don't care what I have to do to make it work. I'm going to learn whatever it is I need to learn, and I am going to commit to myself that I am not going to quit because I see other people doing it, and what's special about them? I don't know. Maybe they started before I did. Maybe that was it. And so it was that switch in myself of committing to myself that I wasn't going to quit on myself, that I was actually going to pull through, that really changed the course of the direction of my life and get very, very clear on my goals of what it was that I wanted to do to contribute to humanity, contribute to our earth, and make a huge impact.
Yeah, that's actually really similar with my turning point. Was like, I was like, I need something different. And I dove into network marketing too. And I also struggled and did all the wrong things. And I didn't make a dime for 2 years. So it was really frustrating. And that's when I bumped into Brian, was when I was learning how to market myself and become more professional online. That's what introduced me to Brian. And then when we met, we actually didn't meet in the flesh for a few months. And then when we met in person, we decided that we were going to be adventure partners just as a joke, because everyone was like, who's this guy? And I was like, oh, he's my adventure partner. And it was kind of just a joke to start. So
I love how that name actually came about. Like initially, I didn't really think about it. I'm like, Brian's name starts with a B, Aaron's name starts with an E. I never thought of it as B adventure partners, which is why you guys use that a lot in your marketing. I thought that was very clever. And yeah, just to remind you guys, I actually did start my journey towards entrepreneurship while I was in engineering school. And I was, actually thinking to myself, I don't want to be an engineer for the rest of my life. I've gone through the curriculum and I started noticing about myself, I'm actually more of a people person rather than someone who wants to crunch numbers all day. And then I think a similar experience to you, Aaron, is I started seeing people just living a life that's very passionless. I don't know if you ever seen this in other people's eyes, but then whenever I saw people at my previous jobs, I started noticing there's no glimmer in their eyes. There's no life there. They're always drudging through the day, complaining about the boss. They're always thinking about what can I do to barely get some work done and then just go home for the day. And to me, that wasn't really living a life. That's not a lifestyle. It's a routine. And part of my brand is I want to bring awareness to people to go back to whatever lights them up, whether that be music, dancing, any creative talent, and help them turn that creative passion into an online business. And you guys were able to do that. And let me actually tell me a little bit more about the Be Adventure Partners brand. Like before, you guys were talking about how it was just a joke about how you started it off as, oh, he's my adventure partner. But how did that come about? And then how did it start to grow from there?
Well, it's kind of funny because the first time that Brian and I met in real life was on a 15-day date. We met at Heathrow Airport in London, and then we hung out in London for a bit and sailed across the Mediterranean on a personal development cruise, which was my network marketing company. And the year before, I had brought my ex-boyfriend, which was a totally different type of person. Like Brian is like a spark of life, and that guy and me just didn't fit anymore. And at a personal development conference, you can imagine they're asking you really challenging questions like, where are the problems in your life and what are your sticking points? And I was like, I'm sitting next to him. And then when I brought Brian, everyone's like, who is this guy? Is he your boyfriend? Are you guys sharing a room? And we were like, woo, like we literally just met in person. Like we've been talking to each other for months, but we just met, and this is really awkward. Like I can't say he's my boyfriend, and he didn't want to say it was his girlfriend. So we were like, oh, we're adventure partners. And then we started sharing our romance because we wanted to keep seeing each other. So we started sharing our romance on Facebook, and then we were like, hey, let's start a blog and share our romance. And then people were kind of like, what's that about? So then we were like, oh, well, we both have businesses online. And yeah, what else is there about that?
So it was an evolution of the romance that brought us into how can we take this idea of be adventure partners, where anyone can go and be an adventure partner with their significant other? And so we played around with different opportunities, like different network marketing companies. We were collecting them at one point. We were together, five total between the two of us. And then also looking at different affiliate options, because we're just like, okay, you know, if we're not going to create our own product, then what products can we be affiliated with? And so this whole evolution started happening. There seemed to be a missing piece in the marketplace, that there was this gray and fuzzy area of things that were not connecting. So you've got the marketing aspect of it. So marketing is great if you already have a business. If you don't have a business and you're going to go into learn marketing, it's like, well, what am I going to market? And then you get drugged down this whole pipeline of, oh, well, just market affiliate stuff. Well, you can do that, but if you don't have a very specific brand, then it's going to be very confusing for your audience. And so that's where the evolution truly happened. We started ditching things that weren't working for us, that made sense with the message that we were putting together. So create a life you're absolutely excited about, with your love, with a business that you're actually going to be passionate about. Because if you go into business online and you think, oh, I'm just going to create a website and drive traffic to it, and you don't really have a passion for it, then good luck in a year from now if you're still even going to be doing it, because you may not have that interest still. So your why of why it is that you want to go and do this is super important. So like for Be Adventure Partners, our why is to help couples escape the box that society unjustly tries to keep them in, turn their idea into a really sick business online so that they can live a life that they're truly excited about. And so once we, evolved our message into that, then all of a sudden people started messaging us nonstop. Like, hey, what is it that you're doing? What is your business? This is so cool. Me and my husband, me and my wife, me and my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever, they started contacting us, and it happens nonstop now. And it was all because of changing the message and becoming crystal clear with how is this brand going to help other people in their life, specifically couples, right?
Yeah, that's so cool how you guys made that switch from, I think, what was the target audience before you targeted couples? What was it like before?
It was a few things. It was kind of digital nomads. It was kind of struggling people in business, and it was
struggling network marketers.
Yeah, it started off originally as couples, and then someone was like, well, why would you narrow yourself to just couples? And we were like, why wouldn't we? Like, don't we need to niche down? And we were kind of all over the map, and we had a hard time really focusing for a while. So that's why, like when Brian says, like people started really messaging us a lot, when our message shifted, we were in shock because it had been so long that we weren't really getting the right people. Like, when it's the right people, like there's like a shift. It's like meeting the love of your life. It's kind of like that. Like people are like, well, how do you know that that's the one? Well, when your target audience bumps into you, there's a distinct like, whoa, these are the people. Like we had a guy send us an email the other day who was like, I just sent my wife this message today. And it literally was, hey, hun, like, how can we start, making $250,000 a year before our daughter's done grad school or whatever it was? And like, he wanted to build a business. And then he said, all of a sudden, I saw you guys. And I started going down the Be Adventure Partners rabbit hole. And we're like, that's the guy. Like, this is the couple, this is exactly who we're looking for. But it wasn't until the message switched that the people started coming. And it was because the message was authentic with what we really care about.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you guys mentioned that that switch happened when you changed your message. Because, one of the things that I teach in my Freestyle Your Lifestyle brand is 5 steps to freestyle in your lifestyle. Is 1, you need to focus on creating a personal brand first. 2, then you'll build a following. 3, create valuable content for that following. 4, engage that audience, and then 5, which is something that you guys mentioned, is actually promote products and services that are only congruent with your brand. So once you actually fine-tune your message, it becomes easier to build an audience because you guys know who your target audience is, and you know what their pain points are and what they're looking for. And then the people that you meet online, when you meet them in person, you're like, wow, he's like a long lost friend. I mean, like we've met up in person, and we all connected pretty quickly because we all had similar values. And I thought that was pretty cool that we just connected, even though we never met in person until that moment in Vegas a couple of years ago. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you guys are part of my Freestyle Lifestyle tribe too, because you guys have that adventurous side of you guys that you want to be able to explore more. So like for me, I like to do a lot of random adventurous stuff like dancing. You guys know I like to break dance. I salsa. Yeah. I like to go snowboarding, go skimboarding, go doing travel videos, and all of those things are related to my Freestyle Lifestyle brand. And it was weird for me because I couldn't pinpoint my message until I started working with the branding coach. I was all over the place too. I was targeting network marketers, struggling network marketers who want to build their businesses online. And none of that felt right until I changed my message like you guys did.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how that evolution happens where you find something and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to try this because it works for someone else. Yeah. And then you're just like, but where is it authentically me, my personality, the direction that I'm going, my values, what it is that I stand behind? Because whenever you get super focused, and this goes for anybody, whenever you get super focused on the impact that you're wanting to make, once you step away from the selfish side of business, because let's be completely honest here, when you start a business online, you want to make the freaking bucks so that you can make that happen, right? So there's a point where you've got to kind of switch your gears and think to yourself, if I can serve people where they're at so that they naturally come to me and I'm not having to like try to cold call people or call friends and family, you know, all the business models that they teach you that are very labor intensive, like Amazon doesn't call me to sell me anything that I've ever bought on Amazon. I know that I go there to buy something. So when you set yourself up as an authority in the space around what it is that you're offering, people are naturally going to start to find you because there's something called Google. There's something called YouTube. Those are the 2 top search engines in the world. So if you can get yourself to show up on that, then all of a sudden things get a lot easier because you have people who say, whenever you ask them, hey, how'd you find me? Oh, I found you on YouTube. Or I found you on Google. Like Facebook's an awesome platform and we use it to like the Facebook ads platform for retargeting and doing some really cool stuff with the ads manager. But when it comes to searching your business online, holy smokes, YouTube and Google are the only 2 things that show up on search results when you're using Google. How cool is that?
That is awesome. I didn't know that Pinterest is actually the 3rd popular search engine.
Nice.
I believe that.
Those 3, you're golden.
Boom.
So smart.
So I do want to dial it back a little bit. So most people usually talk about, you know, once you do become successful, this is what I did to get there. But I want to take it back to the point where you guys were struggling, because most people don't hear about the struggles that they go through before they reach that tipping point. But I want to build more awareness on what it really does take for you to be able to get to that point before you turn into an overnight success. Most people say that, you know, it takes a few years for you to be able to turn into overnight success. And that's really true. I want to hear about what changes in your mindset help you to be able to get past that point where you starting to get more people contacting you. You started to get more results in your business. You started getting more calls for people wanting to come on interviews. So what were the mindset shift that you guys had to make before you guys went full time?
Okay, I'm going to hit on a really personal struggle before I even met Brian, because I quit my job totally prematurely. Like, wasn't set up, just dove right into my own personal brand. And there was a mindset thing there that as soon as I thought, I'm going to get home and I'm going to work on this business, I'm going to make this business happen. And then there was like the personal struggle that I was going through of still being addicted to drugs and being a party animal and not focusing on my business. Like, my business was part-time, and I thought that I had a right as an entrepreneur to do my business when I felt like it versus to really work on my business, build my business. So like, something that Brian and I both struggled with was addictions and having these like personal, deep-rooted problems. And I think that there's a big mindset shift that has to happen with people where they need to understand, like, if you're going to dive into building a business, you need to get your head in the game. And that should be your number one focus. So when Brian and I came together, we were both like really working on our personal development. And it's the only reason that we even attracted each other, because he wouldn't have probably even dated or considered dating a drug addict. And I like that was just kind of where we were at. So we both were working on moving ourselves forward in our lives and developing that really deep-seated root in ourselves. So just having that mental shift and that mental clarity of what we wanted to create. And then also where we were, because we didn't really know ourselves completely and grabbing at straws with different network marketing companies and stuff like that, like there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to branding. And there's a lot of just like needing to narrow your focus to something that you really want. And the more clear that you get in yourself and knowing who you are as a person, knowing what it is that you value, those things lead you down a path that you really want to be living. So it's like setting your goals. And every time that you make a decision, that knowing that that casts a vote for the person that you want to become. So if you keep doing things that make you feel crappy, like in my case, if I would have kept doing drugs and being a party animal and all that stuff, how the heck would I ever be a person that could influence people and help them out in their life? So knowing that I had those goals, I needed to change who I was. And it just so happened he was on the same journey. And then as we started coming together and making those decisions and knowing what it was that we wanted individually, what we wanted to build together, who we wanted to be as a brand, that started really forming our message, started giving us more clarity on what products we would even offer, and even gave us more clarity like, hey, we actually need to create products that really resonate with us, that we can really stand behind versus something that, you know, we like, but we're not 100% on board with.
Yeah, definitely. So that is, I didn't realize you went through that personally, Aaron. It's cool to get to know people on a personal level when we do interviews like this.
Yeah.
So what do you think holds people back from actually pursuing from their dreams of actually becoming a full-time entrepreneur? So for me personally, I'm still working a full-time job. I'm working as a corporate sales guy for air conditioning products, and I have a family. And one of my biggest fears is because I'm the only breadwinner for the family, it's hard, it's tough for me to make that jump. But I know that once I make that jump, it'll feel so much better for me because it'll be more aligned with who I am as a person rather than helping somebody else build their dreams and build their business rather than trying to pursue my own path and actually create an impact on other people's lives. So what do you think usually holds people back from pursuing that full-time entrepreneur?
I feel like there's a lot of levels to that. Like there's not just like this one thing that's holding them back, because we as humans are very individual beings. Like I'm not you and I'm not Aaron, I'm myself. And I've gone through life as myself for a very long time, and I've experienced different things. I've experienced different limiting beliefs than you have. I've experienced different people in my life telling me that after middle school, you go to high school, and after high school, you go to college. Well, why do I need to go to college? When I'm out of high school, I'm pretty much done. Well, you just need that piece of paper saying that you went through it. Well, that's not necessarily true in this day and age. You don't have to go to college for everything or university. So like being exposed to different things of people telling me, hey, there's no way that you'd be able to build a business online because you don't even know how to build one. You don't even know, how websites work. You don't know how blogs work. You don't know how to create a shopping cart or to, in our case, create a membership platform where there's e-courses and affiliate program and all these different things. Like, you don't know how to do all that. Well, guess what? Everyone didn't know how to do something every step along the way. Whenever you first went to, middle school or high school and started learning about algebra, whenever you started, you probably didn't know anything about algebra until they said, turn to page 1, and you started following a plan. You started following a guide that explained how it all worked as you went. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be dental hygienist. It could be a doctor. It could be building a business online. It could be creating a website without knowing how to code and be a programmer. There's all sorts of different things that I was told, hey, you don't even know how to code. How are you going to put up a website? And then there were stories that I started telling myself where I was like, well, even if I did get a website up that did have a shopping cart on it, would people even want what I was creating or selling in the online space? Like, I didn't understand how the marketing side worked to, with it also, and how to create a brand message and create stuff that was very specific to a very tight niche. Like, think of a big pie. We're going to call this like the full pie, and computers is the full pie. If you look at one of the niches, which is Apple computer, Apple's just a small slice of the pie. They don't take the full computer pie. There's all sorts of other computer programs, like computer programs and companies out there, but they're only a small piece. You only need a small piece of what it is that you're doing in your niche, no matter if it's health and wellness, if it's spirituality, if it's online business, if it's selling products and services, it doesn't matter. And so as soon as someone is able to break down those limiting beliefs that they can't, what if they could? And what could that do for them long term? And so it was stepping back and stop allowing those thoughts of doubt in my mind from consuming me, and knowing that I'm worthy of being able to create this in the online space. I'm worthy of being able to find mentors who are doing what it is that I want to achieve in my life, and be able to follow, let's say, a roadmap or a plan or a guide of some kind that walks you through how to build it all. And if you have a question, knowing that you've got a community that you can go to ask those questions and never feel that like, oh, this is probably a stupid question. Well, guess what? Every single question that anybody has ever had has already been answered somewhere, somehow. And just know that you just don't have the answer yet, and don't feel stupid for not having the answer.
Yeah. I always find the only thing that ever gets in the way of my success is myself, and that every level is going to have another devil, like taking that step between like being an entrepreneur who's working a full-time job, and then being the entrepreneur who makes the decision to go part-time, and having that awkward conversation with your boss where it's like, hey, I'm building business, and how about I go full-time or part-time? And your boss is like, what? Like, there's like that awkward stage, and then the next awkward stage of being like, hey, I'm actually done working here. And your boss being like, oh, or your boss being like, hey, you need to make a decision. You're either in or out. That happened to me. And I was like, peace. And it was just like not the right time. But I think that there's never going to be a perfect time, and you just have to trust your intuition. Like, for some people, and advice that we like to give, especially for families, it is saying like, hey, like, what's your minimum viable income? Like, what can you live off of with your family, or just the two of you, or as a solo person building a business? What's the minimum amount that you can live off of? And usually it's a little higher than what you were making at your job. And once you make that decision, then saying, hey, I'm gonna skyrocket this thing. But it's not until you make a decision, kind of like, what's the minimum viable income? What can sustain us? You know, what can give us a life that we want to be living that's like a little bit better than where we were. It's not like I'm making millions yet. Like, we're not making millions to travel full time.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. We did the research. We saw like, hey, it's actually cheaper to live in Central America. And a Canadian and American can go live in Central America together for 90 days, or each country. So you kind of do a little bit of research, do a little bit of planning, and understand, okay, what's the minimum? And then you start setting your goals and you start reaching for those goals. But the only thing that gets in your way is ever you. And when we take ourselves, and when we take ownership for that, we can see where the holes are, and we can see like, hey, like for Brian, he has financial fears. My fears are personal fears, but it's like insecurities that I'm not good enough, or those types of things. And no matter what, the energy is, I'm not good enough. And that rings at the same low level. So just even having a different mindset about it and saying, you know what, I am good enough. Well, you just raised your vibration, and saying, hey, I am valuable, and counting your wins of, hey, I'm starting to build a tribe and this is starting to work. That's a way higher vibration and confidence in yourself than saying, ooh, I don't know if I can do this thing. Right?
Yeah, thanks for that. So the underlying theme that I got from what you guys just mentioned is most people have limiting beliefs that prevents them from being able to step out into full-time entrepreneurship. And what we really focus on is probably a little more personal development, and probably investing in a coach to help them get out of their own way. That's one of the biggest things that affected me on a personal level. You know, when I started investing in coaching, I'm like, wow, I don't know what I don't know, but I was trying to approach it in a way where I'm trying to learn everything on my own. And I know you guys invested in coaching as well. And how did that affect your business before and after the coaching?
Yeah,
decisions.
Yeah, definitely decisions. And I think that coaching, it's someone on the outside looking in, and they're able to see where the holes are because they're not all up in it and in love with it. And so they're like, you love your business, baby. I mean, you're coddling it. It's like a newborn. You don't want to twist its neck. And, you know, the thing might burp a couple times. You'd be like, oh, it starts squealing on you. And you're just like, I'm not sure what to do with this thing, you know? But like, you're just looking at it and you're just like, okay, I can make this work, but I need this outside person to look in and say, hey, this is what I see, because someone on the outside is able to see more of what's going on than you are a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
And they see it effectively without being, you know, like you said, mentioned, like coddling a baby as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm trying to go over the questions that I sent you guys. But so for someone brand new, never knew anything about marketing, never knew that you can actually build a business online, what would the 3 things be that you would recommend them focus on while they begin their journey?
Why?
Yeah.
I would say, why is it you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know why it is, then what's going to keep you motivated when the cash is not flowing in? Yeah. Like, let's just be brutally honest. You put up a website, it's not going to be found on Google right away.
And it can look really great.
And it could be amazing. You can hire a website designer who makes your website look so freaking awesome. But if they're not a copywriter and you're not a copywriter and your message is like, you can't even tell what it is that you offer, we had that problem.
Yeah, we did. People thought we were a travel company.
Yeah, people think that you're a travel agent or something. They think that you're something that you're not even offering. And so why is it that you're getting into business, and why is it important for your audience? That's like one of the, like, if you know why you're making this impact, other than, oh, I'm going to get into business online because I'm going to make a whole ton of money and fire my boss and, you know, live on freaking jets and boats and all sorts of hot air balloons and spaceships or whatever. Like, if you're not crystal clear on your why, you're not going to have fuel in the tank to keep going before you start making cash.
You need your personal why, that's like your selfish reasons, like the jet.
Everybody needs personal.
Like feeding them kids, like, you know, having more time for yourself to go get your nails done or go lay on the beach or play, to just play. Like those personal reasons, and to make a certain amount of money and to have a house on the beach and a house in the mountains. Like you need those goals. Those goals absolutely have to exist, and that's a part of your personal why, and you have your relationship why, and then you have your business why. And like, what's your effect? What do you want people to feel when they come across your business? How do they connect with you? Like, what's the reason why they would want to get on board with you? And what kind of difference are you going to make in their life? And how can you project that immediately? Like when they come to your page, like Freestyle Lifestyle, Freestyle Your Lifestyle, they're like, what? I can freestyle my lifestyle? Like, that's pretty good.
That's
like,
a niche.
That's a niche. That's something that certain people, very specific people, are looking for. Like for us, like not everybody wants to travel the world full time, but pretty sure that most people want to live a life that they're excited about, right? So when they come to our page, they see that. Well, for a long time, the message wasn't right. So like Brian said, just know why you want to help people. Have your personal whys, but really know why you want to help people, and then state that really clearly.
Number 2, I would say get crystal clear on who your audience is, so that when you are building your brand and website, you don't, so let me back up a little bit. You don't want to build your brand and website until you know what it is that you're offering and who the audience is and who you're talking to, because different people, different niches, different brand, they all have their own feel, and it's because they resonate with a particular type of avatar, which is a customer, an audience, a following. Like we get people, humans. It comes down to humans, certain type of human, and so you want them to resonate on a level. So don't build your website and everything until you get clear on that.
Yeah. So number 2 is the people, and then number 3 is the offer. So if you know why you're doing it, and then you know the people, then your offer is so much easier to create.
Yes.
And then you can start building out the website pages, writing the blog post, cutting the videos, because then if you know who they are, you can speak directly to them. And that's such a big part of your offer. Like as soon as people run into you, you don't want to turn out like we were for so long and people be like, we don't even know if you have a business or you offer anything. Like you guys look like vloggers. Like you just want people to land on your stuff and be like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Like these people or this person has the solution that I've been looking for. So those are the top 3. Why, target audience, and then your offer. And those all fit together. Those pieces come together, and that's kind of the thing that creates your brand.
That is. I love how you guys put that together. So number 1 being find out what your why is. Number 2 being connect with the right target audience. And number 3 being what your offer is. So yeah, I love that you guys mentioned that there is prep work before you actually do start building websites. And most people don't know that, you know, one of the first things that you need to be able to do is identify who your target audience is. And, you know, the first thing that I usually like to say is to know yourself first Then you can know who your target audience is, and then you can start to engage and go down that path of being able to create the offer. But I love the way that you guys summed that up. It was very perfect, and it was akin to my 5 steps, which is pretty awesome.
I think it's almost this exact same thing. It's just a different wording, and that idea of know what you want, that's your why. That's exactly the same as your why. Like if you know what you want and you know what they want, it's pretty much the same thing, because your audience is who you were yesterday.
Yeah. And you told us to only say 3 things. Like there's more that goes along with that, a lot more.
The reason why I picked 3 is because I'm thinking of a beginner. I don't want to overwhelm them, but I want to give them a good head start on what the foundation could be for them when they're getting started online. That's the reason why.
Perfect.
That makes total sense.
Awesome. So if you guys were to start over again from scratch, knowing what you know about business right now, how would you approach your business differently?
Oh.
This is a good one.
I can't say that I have regrets, because I know that every mistake we've made has led us to where we're at now, and it was like a perfect learning lesson. But
every mistake was a learning part of the learning curve. And what's cool about that is now when people approach us, they're all like, hey, I'm thinking about doing XYZ. And we're just like, oh, we've done that. Here's what happened when we did that. So then they say, well, if you wanted to do that again, what would you do? Oh, this is what we would do.
It'd be different. Tell them, like, Brian already brought up our kind of revelation, but I think that where we were really focused was primarily on Facebook. It was like Facebook, only Facebook, and then a little bit of blogging here and there, but we weren't consistent. And then we were taking Facebook Lives and we were dumping them onto YouTube, which is like, no.
It doesn't work.
Don't do it. People don't like it. They want a nice produced. You too. So that wasn't really our best strategy. But what we realized was that we love Facebook still, but we know for sure that people can search us and find your content on YouTube, and they can find it on your blog. And that's what comes up when people ask questions. They're not asking questions on Facebook. They're coming here to socialize and hang out like this. It's a totally different environment. So knowing that, I think we would have been making like better, more produced videos on YouTube sooner. Would you say?
I would say that. So the difference between working an active versus a passive strategy, an active strategy is one where you're contacting your friends and family and acquaintances and trying to go and friend a ton of people in different groups on, different social media platforms, and then positioning yourself to pitch them. Like that's a very active strategy, and it's not a good long-term strategy, because what happens when the day comes when you're tired of spending hours a day online and you don't go and send those messages? What happens? You now have a dried up revenue stream because people are not coming in the door. So how do you set yourself up correctly from the beginning so that you can have long-term success? Being found is the one way of doing that. And the only two, like if you were to go to Google and search, Google and YouTube show up in the search results. If you go to Pinterest, obviously Pinterest results will show up, which is awesome. But people aren't searching on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat for the type of content that a business would be posting in order to educate, inspire, and entertain people and to build the community. Now, Facebook's great for community building, having private groups that you can, say that could be a bonus to what it is that you're selling to help, reinforce why it is that they want to continue buying your products or whatever.
Broadcasting education.
Absolutely. So whenever it comes to being found, making sure that you're setting up your website correctly so that Google can find it. There's a few things that you can do, and if you're not doing them, then you're never going to be found on Google. And then also putting content on YouTube, because like if you're doing a how-to type of business of any type, like you can be a tax professional and grow a sick YouTube channel, because guess what? There's a ton of people on YouTube trying to figure out how to, keep more money in their pocket. And if you're answering a lot more of those questions, guess what? You're going to start to have clients automatically contact you. So your website and blog and YouTube, definitely.
Yeah, we would have started there.
Yeah.
That's what we would do completely different.
You guys mentioned that you wanted to be very cognizant of the content you create on a specific platform. So, like you mentioned, Facebook, be more social. YouTube, how-tos is very powerful. You just put how-to, whatever your niche is, will help you identify will help you connect with your target audience, because that's exactly what they're searching for. If you know exactly what they're searching for, you can create content that can help them. So thanks for those pieces of nuggets. That's what I got from what you guys brought to the table there. So just curious, we're wrapping this up a little pretty soon. I just wanted to follow up with a few more questions. What projects are you guys currently working on right now that you're most passionate about?
Ooh.
You've got one, don't you?
Okay, so I gotta be honest, like the business stuff, I love it because I've learned so much about it. And it's been such a big progression in our experience together. So we've been teaching that because we know that it's going to help people really free up their life. We've got another project that we're working on together, but something that just hit my mind was we need a relationship course. We need to teach people how to be couples in a business together, but also how to create a better relationship with yourself, create a better relationship with the one that you love. That, there's a weird fine line in between being a couple who's building a business together and then like still keeping it hot and steamy. So having like a conversation around that, and also how you have a really strong relationships in business and the different types and levels of relationships that people have along their customer journey. So that's kind of my pet project right now that I'm going to drag Brian into to work on, because I think that it's so important.
I agree with you there. I actually wanted to put this right in. It's when you were talking about building a course for relationships, in the back of my mind, I'm actually working on a communication course. And I think that's that you guys can probably branch off of, communication in business, communication in relationships, communication with family. I mean, it really boils down to being able to express your ideas and being able to work together with other people, not just relationships, but in business or in any other niche as well. Just throwing it out.
That's totally
cool. No, it's
100%
valid, because if you can't communicate with your partner that you're building a business with, or if you can't even have a good relationship with yourself, how are you going to build an awesome business? How are you going to be able to connect with other people on a soul level and actually change their life? It's not really possible. Until you lift yourself up, you're going to have a hard time lifting up others. So that's a little taste of something we're working on. But we also are working on another e-course right now that we're super pumped about.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to talk about that e-course because I don't know if are we going to drop that out?
Talk about the YT experiment.
The what?
Our YouTube experiment.
Oh, the YouTube experiment. Okay, I can talk about that experiment. Okay, so we have spent in the last 2 years a little over $20,000 in Facebook ads. What's interesting about that is none of that content is ever going to be found by Google. And so on July, it was maybe a couple days before July 11th, but on July 11th of this year, so just a couple months ago, we decided to start our YouTube experiment. So that is the official launch day. Like even if you go to the About thing on our YouTube channel, it's going to say, oh, you started your YouTube channel back in 2016. Well, we didn't actually use it properly until July 11th. So the experiment that we're doing is a free experiment. What we're doing is we're tracking how many subscribers we get, but actually subscribers don't really matter in the grand scheme of things on any platform. It's a vanity metric, and it doesn't actually measure profitability, because there's YouTube channels out there with 1 million+ subscribers who have very low income coming in, where those people actually still have to have jobs. So subscribers, likes, Twitter followers, whatever you want to call it, that's a vanity metric and doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's all about
the people staying on. Where are they dropping off when they're watching certain videos, and how can you keep the retention rate of those videos? Hey, can you still hear us? Because you're frozen.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. People on long. So we've been working on all sorts of really cool things with that, so that we have higher discoverability of videos naturally in the search results, in the related videos and everything. And so we've actually gotten our numbers up so that search on YouTube and suggested videos is a higher percentage than even traffic from our website. And
or external stuff.
Or external, yeah. So
which is like Facebook.
The idea for YouTube is that when people go to YouTube, you want a high amount of people who are not subscribed to your channel to view your content, because that creates natural subscribers. The higher the number, the more people who are naturally going to subscribe. And it's better for your YouTube channel, because if you've got a lot of paid traffic going to it, then that in Google's eyes is considered paid traffic, and doesn't actually help with your rank when you're putting content out there with specific keywords, tags, titles, descriptions, and hashtags. So we've been tracking it and revealing only to the exclusive tribe of entrepreneurs the results and how it's actually coming out. So it's pretty neat what's been happening, and I would have to say that it's quite explosive once you learn what needs to happen on that particular platform. That goes for any platform, but specifically YouTube, because we don't want to spend a dime. But so we want to increase the revenues of the company by being able to share a message that's completely laser targeted to the audience, and how we have it set up for targeting and stuff like that. So I'm nerding out on things like that. I hate numbers, but all of a sudden I love numbers, because it's cool to watch the graphs tick up and everything.
I think knowing your analytics is so important. And it was something like Brian just said, like, I was not interested in it at all, and was like, oh, why do we need to look at this? But those numbers behind the scenes are the things that help you understand, like, where do people stop watching your videos? Or what kind of titles on your emails are people not jiving with? If people aren't opening your emails for a certain title, but other titles they are, or subject lines, whatever, they are opening your emails, then maybe something needs to shift and change. And it's only until we look at the numbers. That's probably our biggest dorky thing that we're working on right now, is just understanding numbers and analytics and the behind the scenes stuff.
And knowing which numbers to actually track, because there's a lot of numbers you can track, and you don't need to track them all.
But those are the things that help you become better in your business, help you serve better, which equals getting better results.
Exactly.
Because that's what you want.
And you can't improve upon what you don't know, what you can't measure. So it's hard. It's difficult to quantify, the relationships that you have with your audience, but at the same time, you can quantify that by how much of an impact your courses made in their lives by the amount of sales that you do.
Yep.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to thank you guys for your time. I don't want to take up too much of it. I know it's probably approaching 10 o'clock Toronto time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to acknowledge you guys for the hard work that you guys have been putting out there. And I've been following your journey for the past couple of years, and to be honest, you guys have really inspired me to be able to reach out into, pursuing my dreams of being an entrepreneur full time and being able to make a better impact in the world, and not just having to follow that old school advice of going to school, get good grades, finding a high paying job after you graduate, and then working for a corporation for 40 years of your life, where you're seeing the light in people's eyes dimmer as the years go by. So I wanted to say thank you guys for all the hard work that you guys are doing in all of your projects. And as my gift to you guys, next time that we are actually meeting in person, I want to create a video for you guys that you guys can use in your marketing. So one of my passions is actually videography. So next time we meet in person, I'll have all my gear. I'm pretty sure I'll have all the stuff that I'll need. And I'll create a lifestyle video for you guys where you guys can showcase your freestyle lifestyle and capture it and use it in your own marketing. So how does that sound?
That's cool.
That's so cool. I want to say something about just like, I think it's so cool to see your growth too, and how you can take, like, we all met in the same community where we're learning to brand ourselves and market ourselves and all that. And I think that it's really cool, and it's a small percentage that sees the content and does their own thing with it. And I think that it's so cool and so important to actually go with something that fills up your heart, not beating the drum of somebody else's message just because that message is so loud. And I think that it's really cool to see other people taking that message and running with it and doing something of their own, because that's what it's all about, is creating a brand for yourself so you can help people in your own unique way, right?
That's why my brand's called Freestyle Their Lifestyle. It's all about expressing yourself and your creativity by taking your creativity and learning online marketing so you can make a better impact in the world. So that is awesome. So final question for you guys. What does a freestyle lifestyle mean to you?
To me, it means that you're not chained down to anything that you're not intentionally allowing yourself to be chained down to. So for instance, if you want to go travel the world indefinitely, what do you need to do to make that happen? That's a freestyle lifestyle. If you wanted to not go to your job ever again and be able to maybe raise a family or hit the slopes or experience really cool things just locally, that's a choice to you. You've got a choice every single day to be able to do what it is that you want to do. And I feel that in order to do that, you're making a bigger impact in another way of somehow along the way. So for me, that's what I think it means. What about you?
Yeah, it's kind of on the same lines. It's just to be able to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, and not have a care in the world. Like, to really just experience life, enjoy life, do the things that you love, and have that open freedom, that kind of airy feeling of just being able to make decisions for yourself and being in charge of those decisions instead of relying on other people.
I love those definitions of a freestyle lifestyle. And yeah, for me, a freestyle lifestyle is all of those things. It's actually doing what you want, when you want, where you want, with whomever you want, while you're pursuing all of the things that you love to do. So whether that be snowboarding, skimboarding, videography, you know, being adventure partners and travel throughout the world. I love that side of you guys where you guys are able to create that freestyle lifestyle, and just you guys are truly an inspiration when it comes to inspiring other people by following your path. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for your leadership and the inspiration that you're providing to a ton of people, not just me. Most people that actually watch this, I know that it'll impact their lives because you guys have lived through it. I'm still in the process of actually creating my freestyle lifestyle, but I know what I need to do for me to make that happen. And like you mentioned earlier, Aaron, it is just that minimum number. That's what it is. And once I do that, I can't wait to impact more people with my message of Freestyle Their Lifestyle. So,
nice.
With that, hope you guys get a ton of value from this video. Thank you guys for coming on here.
Thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Destrie.
Definitely. And you guys want to say it with me? Till next time.
Adventure on, friends.
Till next time, Freestyle Your Lifestyle.
Freestyle Lifestyle. I didn't know if we were doing yours or ours.
You can end it similar. That's hilarious. Freestyle Lifestyle.
All right, guys. Have a great evening. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon. And let's connect offline on when I can shoot a video for you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.